Hello all, in this lesson we're going to study something that's central to our understanding of matter and the way it behaves, which is the kinetic molecular theory. There are a few different parts we'll have to talk about. So I want you to watch this video from the Fuse School. You do not need to take notes. It's on the diffusion of gases, but it relates very well to what we're learning today.
In this lesson, we are going to learn about diffusion of gases. This will help you to understand how gases behave and also explain why smells spread. Before we start, you need to recall what solids, liquids and gases are like in terms of their particles. In particular, I'd like you to ask yourself, how are the particles arranged in a gas? Pause the video and restart it when you think you have the answer. The answer is the particles in a gas are spaced out and move about very quickly in random directions. Did you get it right? This, of course, explains why a gas takes the shape of its container. It's because the particles will each continue to travel in a straight line until they hit something, in this case the wall of the container. So, the smelly gases given off by rotting vegetables in a sealed box will fill the box with rotting vegetable smell, but you won't be able to smell them outside the box. However, take the lid off the box and those particles will no longer bounce off the lid and be contained. They will start to escape into the air around the box. You'll soon notice the effect and will be able to smell the rotting vegetables. And that's those gas particles reaching your nose by diffusion. Diffusion is the random movement of one gas through another, from a region of high concentration, in this case inside the box, to a region of low concentration, in this case outside the box. It is a process that doesn't rely on wind or air currents. It will happen even if you are inside a building and the air is completely still. Now, there are many examples of diffusion, but smell is probably the most obvious one. These could be food smells, body smells from other people, the scent that a plant gives off to attract pollinating insects. And the same even applies with the smoke from a candle after it has been extinguished. It spreads out, and it's all due to diffusion. Now here's a challenge for you. If someone walks into a room with some fresh flowers, why does it take a while for the smell of the flowers to fill the room? Why can't you smell them straight away? Pause the video, have a think, and restart it when you think you have the answer. Well, just as the gas particles can hit the walls of a container and rebound, the particles can also hit each other. It doesn't matter if there is only a single gas or a mixture of gases. These collisions between particles are always taking place. It's very similar to trying to walk in a straight line through a busy crowd of people or a marketplace. It's very difficult to do without bumping shoulders with someone and changing direction. This explains why it takes a while for a smell to get from one part of a room to another. The high concentration of gas or smell particles takes time to spread out due to the collisions with the other gas particles in the air. And that is diffusion.
So this is where you're going to start your classwork page for these notes. Although there is no homework associated with this lesson, there is a quiz associated with this lesson, and that quiz will be on the topic of heat calculations. So it'll be Q equals MC delta T, Q equals MHF, and Q equals MHV. So you can study up for that. That'll be next time I see you. And copy down this AIM on your essential questions handout, but also on this classwork page. And then follow it with these do now questions. So the kinetic molecular theory is a model, and what it has in common with fashion models, this scientific model, is that they are explaining an ideal way that things should be, perhaps. But as we know, ideal is not actually possible for most people, and even in science, ideal is not expected because it's hard to attain. In fact, what we actually have are things that are real, which is sort of the opposite of ideal. So in the next week or so, we are going to be using equations to examine the relationship between pressure and volume and the temperature of gases. But for now, we're going to study all of them completely conceptually. So the kinetic molecular theory is, in short, a set of rules that make up the logic behind why gases act the way they do. When we get to the equations of this unit, it will tell us how we can predict changes in gases, but this lesson is just about why gases act the way they do. So, arrangement and motion of particles in a gas. Some substances that are gaseous at STP, just to give us some examples, are oxygen, nitrogen, and let's say methane. One thing you may notice is that all three of these molecules have non-polar molecular structures, meaning they have symmetry in their three-dimensional models. And because they're non-polar, they also have very low attractions for each other, and this explains why they're gases at STP. So on a molecular level, gases would look very spread out, and they would be moving in random straight lines. Perhaps if you were going to draw a particle diagram, it would look something like this. These facts that we just stated imply that the relationship that gas particles have with one another is basically no relationship or no attraction. Okay, so interaction of gases and their containers. This animation is not going to play in the lecture. I can show you in class tomorrow, but the pressure being exerted on the walls is actually due to collisions between the gas molecules, which are here, and the walls of the container. And besides the walls of their container, in the opening video, you know that gas particles can collide with each other and interfere with each other's movement. At STP, we have actually a standard pressure that is exerted by all of the molecules that are above a place in the atmosphere. I tried to illustrate that with this diagram down here. So the pressure is coming down from the column of gas that lies above this area. And that is called standard pressure. And standard pressure is very helpfully defined as 1 atmosphere, meaning that's the pressure of the atmosphere above you. But in another unit, which is kilopascals, it's 101.3 kilopascals. You can find both of those on your reference table, table A, I think, but you'll see it on the front page. So what's responsible for creating the pressure we experience at sea level? See the above diagram. Okay, so a lot on this slide you're not responsible for writing down. I'll just point out what you do need to write down because the animation is, it's all these notes over here and up here are based on the animation. What you do need to write down is this information. So when particles collide with each other, they transfer energy, and that's kinetic energy is being transferred. And we pretend that energy transfer during collisions is perfect, meaning that all of the energy that a molecule has when it collides with another molecule is perfectly transferred to the other. It's like complete and perfect and no energy is lost. So what we say is that they're perfectly elastic. Elastic is a word that means bouncy. So this is a really important slide. In our model of the way molecules move, we say that molecules are perfectly elastic when they collide. Elastic collisions are collisions in which no energy is lost, but it is merely transferred. So I'm going to add another red box here, and both of the bullets in the red box are essential to write down. And with that, we've made it to the pair-up. Please add this to your classwork page of your notes underneath the aim and the do now. And right underneath the pair-up, I want you to add these summary questions. And then you'll be done. Thank you for watching.